Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's been a crazy week. I was telling Chris before the show, I think last night was the first night I got more than 5 hours of sleep in like a week.
Cut that out.
Wait, you got to sleep, bro?
You got work to do, pal.
Lots to do. Yeah, lots to do. So Josh, or Mr. Rager, who's the Bongo team, said he's running a little bit behind. May have guy's schedule's mixed up, so he said he's going to try to show up a little bit.
There he is.
Later. Oh, is he here with us? Oh, there he is.
Rager.
Cool.
Real quick, why does that migration platform look like he's about to steal my girl, bro?
Yeah,
He's looking good. He's looking good.
The graphics guy came in clutch, Mr. Axel himself. Guy's the legend. Coming in. Yesterday, we onboarded 3 teams to the platform. Got a few more going on today, and we are officially underway for migrations. All the teams I told not to leak the actual date, leak the date. So it's the 25th. It's the 25th. It's the 25th. It happens.
I mean, it is what it is, dude. It's like, yeah, it's like when we first started talking about the 23rd, we're like, don't tell anybody. And it's like immediately got, pushed out there too. And so anyway, it's the 25th for sure. Double sure.
It's definitely funny. Like, I mean, we give them all this information and we're like, the only thing we say is don't don't give the final date until everything's ready and confirmed. Like
The
the
tweet
first
comes out
message,
an hour
you see,
later.
like, they literally get off the call and they're like, all right, this is going down the 25th. I mean, it's definitely funny.
That's what I mean. It does. Anybody who thinks like conspiracy theories, the moment it gets past like two people, bro, it's public knowledge, man. That's just the way humans work, man.
And I mean, you know, these dates, they're so dynamic because there's so many things, so many moving parts. So, you know, once you release a date, you're like held to the fire for the date, even if you didn't release it. So it's like, well, the date is the 25th for anyone listening. There's no changing it at this point, I guess.
Yeah,
we're 1 p.m. Eastern, man. That's it.
Yeah, so little updates, and then we will talk to Mr. Rager, who's one of the leads behind Bongo Cat, who's going to be migrating with us. Yeah, man, it's been quite an adventure. The audit took a little bit longer than what we were expecting. So now we have the audit back in our court for submissions, and we'll be submitting to them in the next few days. And then we'll be getting the final report whenever it's done. They said the final report could be over a week before they actually finalize it. So hoping to have it by the 25th, which is a week from today. But if not, it'll come out whenever they give it to us at that point. We will have full documentation though ready. We have written, our development team has written very extensive documentation on Migrate Fund. It took me like almost 20 minutes to read through everything. So there's some stuff we'll have to hide, but platform looks good. Been doing a lot of testing through and through. Looks good. A lot of exciting. Been getting a lot of requests recently as well. A lot of requests for migrations all over the place. To Bonk Fund, to Pump Fund, to Meteora, to this launchpad, to that launchpad, to this chain, to Base, right? It's kind of all over the place, which is cool, right? The idea of migrations are taking off. I think we saw the first competitive migration tool launch yesterday. The Believe app guys launched their migration tool. I actually went through and used it.
For all those teams who want to move, it's the one thing I haven't received a request for. I've not received a request to move to Believe. Not I haven't got.
I applaud them for doing it because we need people to go out and create their own tools so that people could see the value of Migrate Fund and a neutral third party participating in this stuff. I went and used it myself. It's the same process as our V1 of Migrate V1, the one we did with Agent Hustle, where you see the LP on the other side immediately. And then you just migrate. And so there's no break. You could immediately trade the new token. The issue with doing that model is that you have to basically subsidize every single pool on the other side. So with their pool, they migrated, I forget what the first, it was like RV something to Pasternak.
Like a personal token or something. I can't remember.
And they migrated over. And so they seeded the new pool with, I think it was like $500,000 in liquidity. So what I suspect is going to happen with these teams who do this type of migrations is that they're going to have to subsidize liquidity for all of these, which is going to be very expensive. I think Chris actually brought this point up before, that once you start getting into those games, like the teams actually will be spending more time chasing migrations around and building migration tools than the actual product themselves. So I think it's kind of, maybe you find some people who can, but for our position, I actually put a tweet out earlier this morning just saying, when you're a neutral third-party migration tool, you get to basically set the standard. So when we launch, essentially it's Migrate Fund V2 on Thursday. This is significantly more advanced than what they had pushed out, which is significantly more advanced than our V1 from 2.5 months ago, almost 3 months ago. July 1st is when we launched V1. So exciting times, to say the least, as we do onboard them. We are blessed on stage with Mr. Rager and some other potential team members of the Bongo Cat. What's up, Rager? You might be on mute, or if you're not available right now, then come on whenever you are ready.
Are you there, man? Check your mic.
Yeah, it could be. Do we got Hero on stage? What's good, Hero? Am I rugged?
No,
they're all rugged.
No audio from him either.
Am I rugged? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we've got you.
Okay.
We can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. Traction.
Tracto.
Okay, cool. Okay, I was like, okay, cool. I can hear you, Tracto. What's good, Tracto?
Dude, just living life. Excited for this migration. Not part of the team, but been a holder for a long while, and I'm looking forward to seeing this thing move. It's gonna be freaking awesome. The bongos don't stop.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, it's been interesting over the last, I guess you'd say 2 months or so. We launched the Agent Hustle migration from Tensorium to Hustle July 1st to the 15th. And after that, and once the Bonk Fund team had reached out and got involved, man, talking with over 100 teams, probably close to 150 teams at this point now, from all different types of angles, of people who did VC funding, to people who launched on Pump Fund, to people who are just like got put into bad situations, to people like Project 89 who had the token launched on their behalf and kind of got guerrilla marketed or guerrilla onboarded into crypto themselves. Like there's a lot of interesting situations that these teams end themselves up in. But the cool part is that it gives a fresh start. And that's what I think that's kind of like the synonymous angle here. Like for us, when we migrated Tensorium, we were at a 600K market cap, and it was like, we got to make a change now, or this is going to end very badly pretty soon. And it worked out pretty well. And so we're going to be spreading that awesome opportunity and a fresh start to everyone else that's participating, especially with the Bongo Cat. Rachel, are you here with us?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Got
him. Man, this is my first Spaces. I have never talked on Spaces before.
Let's go.
Isn't that wild? Never. So was trying to figure it out. And of course, you know, just take a few clicks of the button and I'm here now. So thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate it. You know, we try to do these calls and with all of the teams who are migrating, but also just in general, just to network. You know, in this space, it's growing so fast that it's tough to really pay attention to all the different sectors that are ongoing. And so we've been doing this show now for, I don't know, we've been doing this show for like 4 years now at this point.
Thousands of shows. So Rager, this is your first. I'm on my 10,000th show.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I mean, it brings me back because I think I've told you guys already that I used Emblem Vault back in 2021. So, I mean, like, I'm not a stranger to the protocol, you know, of that. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear, you know, your story, you know, how you got into crypto and then ended up, you know, helping out with the Bongo Cat team.
Oh, crypto, man, I'm OG. I'm what they call an unk, you know what I'm saying?
When'd you get in?
2016 to 2017, you know, that time. Yeah.
Same. Me and Chris too, same thing.
So rode up Bitcoin from like low 2000s or so up to 20,000, held it all the way back down. I didn't sell. Of course, everybody was like, it's going to 100K back then, right? And it only took 10 more years. But yeah, like I held my first altcoin buys were Verge and XRP.
Classic.
Which, yeah, so I don't hold XRP now. I know there's a lot of fanboys for XRP, but I mean, as far as that goes, a huge community. But I kind of got into it then. Andreas Antonopoulos, if I'm saying his name right, like I heard some YouTube videos about him, and that got me into Bitcoin. And the guy's a legend, and so I have to thank him for watching his stuff back in the day. But ever since then, so rode up and rode back down, and then bought. I would say, I mean, technically, I bought the bottom in 2018-19 around 3K, right? So was a big believer that the whole market was going to go back up. I bought ETH, a lot of ETH at 200. So I didn't catch the bottom exactly at 80, but I bought a lot at 200 and sized up at 700 and just kind of rode that back up. And so 2021 was a massive successful year for me, you know, with not only Bitcoin and Ethereum making a ton off that, but just also, you know, NFTs. You know, NFTs were huge. And of course, the DeFi time. I mean, I remember back when Uniswap started back in 2020 and that's really when like on-chain took off, right? And people were like, what's a MetaMask? I don't even know what MetaMask is. And so, you know, people were downloading MetaMask. People were, you know, trading, you know, a bunch of rugs on Uniswap when they first launched. And that's back when, prior to Pump Fund, Bonk Fund, prior to, you know, nobody could just launch a coin. You at least had you had to have some type of knowledge to be a developer, at least a little bit, right? And so that was a lot of fun too. And then today, right, just kind of going through it. I've been here for a long time, perps trading, on-chain trading, got into meme coins. Bongo Cat, I would say, is probably one of my most favorite memes of all time. And noticed that back in 2024. Of course, it was launched in 2023 prior to the launch pads. And I was like, this is pretty cool that Bongo Cat has a meme, and yet like it's really low, right? Like it was sub 1 million market cap. It was like 100K and it'd been around for a while. And so I started to buy some up, and I was telling other people about it, and PopCat was going off. And I'm like, man, I have a thesis that, and I made a YouTube video about it. I was like, man, I have a thesis that this is just one of the biggest memes in the world. And I love it. And it's known globally, and I think it can be successful. And so here we are today, right? Big community overall. It's 100% community led. Like, we did not launch the token. It was launched back, like I said, in December of 2023 from the same guy who launched the PopCat. And it was kind of a crazy story. Of course, we had to go through a lot of pains through that, because he originally had he could actually change, of course, the metadata. And so we actually had to agree with him to hand that over and to be able to make sure that that could never be changed again. And so we went through that process, similar to what the PopCat team did. And then again, from here we are, right? So this is where we're at.
Nice.
Yeah, the Bongo Cat's one of my favorite memes. It's actually a meme that I use a lot when people just give me the when crowd consistently as a builder. So that's the one that I always do, because it's hitting the table or hitting the bongos. So curious then, what led you guys to decide to migrate this over? First, undergo a migration, and then also why Bonk Fund?
Yeah, so a couple different reasons is, again, like, we did not launch this on a launch pad. We have no way whatsoever of retaining any type of fees, any type of finances or capital that would actually help us grow. And so it's 100% community led. So we even got on exchanges, right? So we got on Gate and Mexi back in 2024. That was all paid entirely between me and some of the community. And so we paid it all. We had, no fees, no anything. We didn't raise money, of course, because of the meme, but just 100% community had to chip in. And so the problem is that eventually it's just like, you can only do so much, right? So if you don't have any type of incoming capital by any means, it's hard to do anything. It's hard to market. It's hard to grow. And so, we discussed that, and we're like, look, like, what is a way that we can actually continue to grow, continue to build? And so we've built a lot too, by the way, and I can get into that here in a few minutes. But a big reason for that is, like, to be able to, hopefully get some funds through fees that would go back into Bongo Cat, that would bring value back to the community to grow. And so it's all about that. It's always been about that. It's never been about the small team that we've had as volunteers to make money. I mean, of course, you hold a token, but we're all still holding. We're not like trying to do this by any personal gains whatsoever. We want to see Bongo grow. That's where our focus is at, and that's really why we want to do it. And of course, Bonk Fund made a lot of sense. Bonk still makes a lot of sense, regardless of how the launch pad wars, as you can say, are going. And we know that Bonk Fund had a tremendous run, and it's going to come back. And that's the thing about it, is that a lot of times in crypto, you see attention go back and forth really quickly. But the thing about Bonk is, their entire team, they're builders, they're hard workers, they have good integrity, and it always comes back to those people, and those are the people who win, right? And I'm not saying that other people don't. I'm just saying that those guys in particular, and knowing those guys and having conversations with their team, and really it spoke to me. And I think that Bongo is just a very Bonk friendly type of meme, right? Because you think of Bonk, you think of the Bonk dog, and you think of, again, I guess, as an animal, Bongo really fits in kind of with that friendly, fun type of brand. And I think that it fits exactly with that.
Yeah, I've been sitting here on the live stream looking at some of the different metrics. So if you look at the chart, $7.5 million market cap, 800K in liquidity, almost 15,000 holders, and was launched on December 23rd, 2023. It looks like the CTO is almost coming up on a year, October 8th, 2024, or at least that's what it says on Deck Screener. Take me through this website here where I'm actually sitting here playing the bongo. It looks like there's with the cat. It looks like there's also some AI composing with the song. So what was going on here?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different websites that we're going to integrate probably a little bit better. So there's the bongocat.com. And so with the bongocat.com, you can actually just go on there, and it's very similar to an original open source site that somebody just made for everybody to use. Now that in particular was the original site that we made. And so you can actually play that. You can play whether you want to play bongo, cymbal, cowbell, right? You want to meow, piano, whatever. You can actually go through that. It's got links. And of course, we also have a meme maker. And so if you want to actually create any type of meme, you can upload any photo that you want. And then of course, it gives you the ability to add bongo on there. And then, of course, you can share that. Now, that is the bongocat.com. And so what I have personally worked with some devs for a while was the bongocat.io. Okay, so the Bongo Cat again. And what this is we wanted to make we wanted to bring value because bongo is about creating music. And so we were like, how do you do this? How can we go about and create something for holders of bongo to give back? And so if you hold bongo, you can actually spend a few bongo tokens. And of course, at the market cap now, it's just cents, right? Like it's hardly any money whatsoever to go. And what you can do is you can connect your wallet. You can log in and you can actually compose original brand new songs. All you have to do is hit the compose page, link your wallet, and then write what you want bongo to create a song about. And of course, it can be instrumental or it can actually have words with it. And so you can create whatever you want. Whatever you want a song about a big purple elephant, whatever, go ahead and write that down, say what you want the song to be about, and then it will create that song. You can then download it or you can share it on Twitter or social media. And then it shares through like a video. So it's pretty cool. So it's our own AI maker as far as, creation. I don't think anybody else has really done that when it comes to memes out there. And I think bottom line, like the cool thing about this is that anybody can use it. Okay. Not just bongo people, but if you have a project, right? And so that's what we believe this too. If you have a project, if you have a meme, it could be any meme or any project that's not a meme. I think that builds unity and that builds people together is through song, right? A lot of times songs can do that. A lot of times songs can be great for marketing or branding. And if you need a branding or marketing song, just go to our website, buy some bongo, connect it to that, spend a few bongo. Again, does not cost a lot. Make your own song. And then you can then add that to social media or whatever to, again, hopefully kind of for branding, marketing, for community, but it does bring value. And I think more than just the bongo community. That's what that's about.
Very cool. We had the Chonky guys on, I don't know, last week or something. And they build out nothing like this, but just a kind of meme maker site, which was really substantial, actually, what they did as well. Not AI driven like this, but just more like, putting Chonky in all sorts of situations and stuff. And I love it. I think this is what good teams do, is bring value and allow this kind of sharing of memes across crypto Twitter and stuff like that. Very cool. Who on was this somebody on the team who built this out for you, or you had like a third party?
No, I actually had some people hired. Yeah, I had some people hired myself, and I paid for it myself, by the way. So I mean, I paid for it myself. I didn't ask the community to pay for it because, again, as somebody who's been helping out with this for a while, I just want to continue to bring value back to the people within the community who hold the tokens to give it a little bit of utility. And all tokens that are used for this, by the way, basically go to a wallet and really they're just cut off from the supply. You're not going to see those again. So they're not going to be sold. Nothing's going to happen to them. That's just bottom line how we use the tokens for this. And so really it's a means to make Bongo, the token, more scarce. Have fun, give some value, make the token more scarce. It's a win-win-win. So
as somebody who's been in the industry for 9 years at this point, how did you end up in memes over something like infrastructure or utility? Like all of us here who are on stage, we all got in as well, same time, 2016, 2017. We ended up building all these crazy infrastructure technology with migrations and such. But you found yourself leading memes. So what is it about the the community and the market of memes that has landed you there?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, like I've always been a trader and investor when it comes to, investing in Bitcoin, right? Like the long-term type of assets. But as far as trading goes and through the multiple cycles have been going through that. But, when it comes to narratives, I mean, memes are here to stay. I saw that and I was like, this is a really good meme. Because again, Bongo is one of those almost like I want to call Bongo a decentralized meme because it was created by multiple people online and it's been around for about a decade too. And just, again, it's one of my favorite memes. But as far as building goes, I've actually invested. I've been an angel investor in quite a bit. So while I haven't personally, say built like a migration tool or something like that, I have invested in a lot of things. And so, so really that's how I see I have a big component as far as when it comes to any type of building. And even today, I mean, there's things that, I can't talk about, they're in stealth, that I've invested in. And it goes back to actual products that are being built for the industry and not just memes. But in general, memes are fun. Again, I love Bongo Cat. I saw this and my thesis kind of around it through my trading and investing is what kind of brought me to it. And then since then, a big community has been built. And like I said, and after you build community, you tend to get close to those people. You tend to build friendships. And it's one of those things where I want to continue to see it grow. It's not one of those things where I just want to say, hey, let's just get in this community for a while and then just, when the market runs up, just leave and take off. So I plan on being here for a while. And, but yeah, it's kind of the story behind that.
Yeah, no one ever leaves crypto.
Ever, right?
Ever. I mean, I've seen so many people pop in and out, or even have pseudonym accounts and then come back with a new pseudonym account or docs. We're stuck here forever. The space, it's just crypto just permeates into everything. And so, as much as if you are somebody who's just chronically online, then you're going to run into crypto at some point. And yeah, it's really, really tough to obfuscate. But moving into kind of the migration, so you have a bunch of community members here as well as Bongo fans. Are there any plans for or new plans for the project once the migration ends? Is there any type of alpha or any type of things that you guys have in mind once you do land over in Bonkland?
Well, I think the main thing is to continue to clean up all that we have with like our websites, again, with our music creator. It's going to go back to look at that. Is there any way that we can include that within the Bonk world? Easier our partnership with that. Is there any way that we can actually create more value with what we have? That's going to be the first thing. And I think the second thing is just to make sure that everybody's on board, is to make sure that no community level member is left behind, right? So to be able to go through this migration, to make sure that everybody's taken care of, to make sure that everybody, again, through a migration process, are they doing it right? Want to make sure that you're not losing your tokens. And then from there, again, work with the Bonk team and then continue just kind of brainstorm and figure out how we can continue to bring value. But at this time, it's kind of like one step at a time, right? But the whole point of it is to grow, is to be able to build and to be able to give back to the community. So really, that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah. I think for the majority of teams who reach out to us that want to migrate, it's generally kind of a combination of these, like maybe 4 or 5 things, whether it's LP rewards, right? They got locked into some sort of situation where there's no LP rewards, or it's not favorable, or some sort of situation. Another one's generally some sort of reclamation of a token treasury through late migrations, or through some mechanism that they've set up with the community for the migrating. And then the other two is kind of my favorites that are generally underappreciated, which is a new chart, a fresh chart. So when we migrated from Tensorium to Hustle, all of the traders came in and started buying it, and they didn't realize that the token had existed or there was a community who existed around this token for I think it was 6 months or 7 months at the time. And the people who are trading, they don't know that. They just see fresh chart, and so they think it's something new and shiny, which is always how the crypto community is. And then for some teams, they also take advantage of doing a rebrand. This is generally more of the like tech teams who are migrating, because the memes, you want to keep purity, but maybe gives an opportunity to use a different image for the token, or to set the metadata to a specific standard that has like the right links and kind of these other variations. And then there's kind of like these like ancillary ones for people who want to move to different ecosystems for community support. That seems to be like by far the number one request for people who migrate to Bonk, which is actually kind of funny, because when we built Migrate Fund, we had in mind tech teams, and we were like, oh, most of these teams are going to want to migrate from Pump Fund to their own pool, so that you have 100% of fees and that you could kind of fund runway. And really, that really flipped on its head, and it ended up being a lot of memes. Also, a lot of tech companies that wanted to migrate to Bonk, to a launchpad, and we were like, huh, interesting, launchpad to launchpad. But every single person wanted the community support. That was like by far the number one thing. And also, like, I've just come to realize that, and Rager, you probably know this as well. Like as new people come into the market, they have less knowledge about the industry. So even just the idea of managing their own liquidity pool seems to be terrifying to a lot of people. I mean, for those who've been in the industry for a while, it's quite simple, but for somebody who's fresh and new, that is like a terrifying aspect to a lot of people, and they'd rather have the Bonk Fund team help them out with that and manage the pool itself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of good things with that. Again, just with being able to have really, again, with the Bonk team. I mean, these guys have shown that they're experienced, that they're knowledgeable. They've been very successful, and so to be able to partner with those type of people, I just think that if anything, it's just a win-win. So, and it's just huge. And in general too, right? We got Bonk Guy, Uni PCS. He's like the number one holder in Bonk. And so I think a lot of people know him as Bonk Guy, but excuse me, he's the number one holder in Bongo. I said Bonk. Bonk Guy is he's the number one holder in Bongo Cat. So with Bongo, we've got him, and I've talked with him quite a bit, and he's still a holder, he's still a believer, and he still owns a couple percent supply, and he still thinks it's going to go really, really high. And so when you have somebody like that who is in your corner, who's backing you, and who believes, one of the best traders in the entire market, he just bought the new CZ, Aster coin. I just saw a tweet I think from him even too, that he got an Aster, the coin that just went nuts over the past 24 hours. He got in at like 11 cents, and it's already like 7x, and he's up like massively in millions. And it's just like, the guy is just a phenomenal trader. He's got a good sense on the market, and he's got a good sense on projects. And again, he's been very successful with Useless. He's been successful with a lot of projects, and he's backed a lot of projects around Bonk. And it's pretty cool that that relation with quote Bonk Guy and moving to Bonk as well. I think it's a win-win too.
Well, this guy might be playing the trenches pretty hard, because he's also the number one holder, I believe, of Project 89, who's also migrating to Bonk Fund. So he's been a pretty good lead here for the Bonk community. I haven't been able to talk to him at all privately. We do follow each other, but there's no doubt that he's been one of the main characters and best traders this cycle for identifying memes very early, especially Bonk, and driving it upwards. Chris, do you have any questions, comments?
Yeah, man. Bongo Cat, super funny. I don't think I've ever said this, but that was like the coolest website that I've ever seen. I saw Jake like just
Cool.
we have a live stream over here, so I just saw Jake's like face lighting up playing with the bongo drums. It was pretty nuts. I actually didn't know that existed, so definitely would like to see
Cool.
some more kind of marketing and publicity around that. But what was your initial thoughts when you saw that migrations were maybe possible, and was it like an immediate yes, that's something we're looking to do? How did the community take it? What was kind of like the debate internally, and how did that kind of process and messaging go?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, "Is this even possible?" Right? Like, because you always question things when you see things.
For sure.
You gotta verify first when it comes to crypto. But yeah, I saw the opportunity for that. And again, a lot of people. So you had kind of a mixed bag at first, right? So you've got people who were like, "No, Bongo is not a launch pad. It's like a pure meme." And again, it's like you can't really look at it based on where it launched at. And I think you've heard a lot of people say that too. If you're just looking at the last 4 characters or whatever of a address, whether it says bonk or pump, like you're kind of lost, because in the end, it doesn't really matter where it launched at. Sure, maybe a short amount of time you might get attention if you're a bonk or a pump fund, one of those, or Heaven Dex or wherever else, right? That things have launched recently. But in the long term, what matters is, again, the community, the value that you bring, and the meme itself. And so, we were talking internally about that. People were kind of divided. And then it's kind of like, after you discuss it, like, okay, it really doesn't matter if what the characters or what the wallet address or what the contract address is for the token. And so I think once people got on board and saw that, okay, it really doesn't really matter. What matters is the actual Bongo itself and the project. And so we went on to say, okay, what's the benefits of this, right? What are benefits? And of course, we can all agree, like, we really have no way whatsoever to give back to the community outside of us just using our own money that we have and just pouring it into things and building. And so, again, we can do that, but you can only do so much with that. And so really that came down to a couple of things. Migrating was, getting excited about it, that, hey, maybe we can actually earn some fees back on this in a positive way and give back to continue to build, because it's only going to help if that happens, because right now we're kind of bootstrapped. And so that was really the main discussion. And again, going back to seeing that a lot of our supporters were related with Bonk as well too, were fans of Bonk. It just kind of made sense. And so I had people actually reaching out to me. I already thought about it for weeks, right? And then they were reaching out to me, "Hey, what do you think about moving to the Bonk ecosystem?" So, and I was like, okay, well, now I'm having people reach out to me, kind of maybe a sign that this is what people want. And in the end, it's just, we got feedback, and it was primarily, for the most part, I would say 95% positive.
For sure. That's awesome. I think that you guys are such a good candidate and such like a good example. We see so many people in this first wave that are like working every day just to kind of push their meme forward, but the status quo isn't really working for them. And so they just need like a little bit of spark to kind of reignite that flame. And then you guys are like off to the races. And like you said, you guys are pouring your own money into this, but like the dynamic changes so quickly when you can be earning maybe a few $1,000s in a single day, every day, for, the history of the memes life cycle from here on out. And so what is like an extra, $5,000-$10,000 every week mean for spreading the message of like the Bongo Cat? I mean, it's really such an interesting dynamic. So super stoked that you guys decided to do it. And I think that these first movers in specific are going to like have, such a good experience migrating towards the other side. Moving first is going to prove to be such a good idea, I think.
Yeah, I love too the idea of, I mean, obviously it was kind of stunning to us, but not really stunning looking back, that everybody's just looking for, how can I get more attention, right? And obviously we know that the Bonk guys are very involved in bringing attention, to projects over there. That's a no-brainer. I think, Rager, what you'll see as well is the people who are already in your community and supporters will become even more diehard after the migration. We've definitely seen that. It's kind of like, I don't know, Jake would say, like moving to a new land and getting on a new boat and making that voyage. when you get to the other side, you got like your hardcores are even more hardcore, and you got rid of kind of the deadwood that wasn't a part of your community, if that makes sense. So that's something I think you can look forward to.
Right. Definitely. I mean, the way you could think of it is like if people don't want to migrate, they sell. They just sell their tokens. They're no longer part of the community. And so, when you get to the other side, everyone that holds that token for that point of time is like a real believer in what you guys are doing. And so it's definitely like a community strengthening event. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty exciting. That's what we saw with the Tensorium community. I think we had about 500, 700 people who migrated over out of I think it was like a few thousand token holders, although a lot of those were bots, and 85% of tokens migrated during our migration for a 2-week period. And you could tell the excitement actually in the beginning, because we had 51% of the token supply migrated in the first 24 hours, and it was 60% after the first 3 days. And so everyone was ready, and they came out and supported hard. And so I would love to see that record be broken from Bongo or one of the other teams who are migrating over to the Bong Fund community. Through our history, right, Emblem Vault's been around since 2016 and has done cross-chain stuff literally since it's the inception of interoperability. But we had, before we even created the platform, we were like, man, 80% is Sierra. Good to talk. Let us come on the Bonk Fund show maybe next week. Would be pretty good.
That was like I wanted to talk when I get a sec.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not good with spaces. I'm kind of like Rager, so.
Oh, cool.
So go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. You're good. I actually had talked to the Bonk Fund guys to get on the Bonk Fund show maybe next week at some point to talk about Migrate Fund. So I've been listening to your show. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, I can get you on whenever you want. So just DM me and we can make it even tomorrow. So just let me know.
Cool. Appreciate that. But yeah, so with like with Emblem, right? We'd been doing interoperability since interoperability kind of existed. And to get 80%, we were like, man, that is like an extreme, like high turnout. And we got that on the first day. So I'd love to see, now that there's more awareness around migrations, to see that go much higher, to try to get to 85 to 90, 95%. I think getting 100 is somewhat impossible because of bots and stuff. But like when you look through like the history of migrations, Emblem had done some migrations back in 2016. It was like one of the first Emblem migrations. But when you see like really high migration turnouts, like I think the DGods migration was pretty good when they returned back to Sol. I think they ended up getting like 90% or so. And Adam and I come from the historical NFT community in 2021. And migrations or wrapping assets is somewhat of a equivalent as well. And we're pretty big in like the Mooncat community, where they had 25,000 NFTs. And still to this day, even 5 years later, I think there's only like 85% of those assets wrapped. So if you could get above 75%, that is like doing really, really well. And then obviously we have like a snapshot and claim tool for those late migrators to do, if you do a penalty or kind of a one-to-one redemption. So I'm really excited to see this out in the wild and to experiment. But Rager, kind of one off question actually out is, how did you get the Rager handle on Twitter?
Well, so it is my last name, by the way, because people will ask that, you
Wow.
know, and I'm like, no, it's actually like, yeah, it's my last name, which is pretty cool. I've been blessed with a good cool last name. But yeah, no, I actually talked to the guy who owned it, and we made a deal back. It may have been in 2021. Nice. And so he was pretty cool. I basically reached out to him and I was like, hey man, like I see that you have this and I don't know how important it is to you, but it is like my last name and what people know me by. And we talked it out, made a deal offline, and he was able to switch it with me at the same time. And so pretty cool guy. And I think that he's a guy who actually did own multiple accounts with popular names and just was kind of in that business. But of course, you're not supposed to talk about quote business with account names, but that's how it went down.
You're lucky you didn't get rugged on that, man. That's usually a
right
situation, bro.
That was a 50% up front that I agreed with him. So it took some trust, but he was pretty active online, and then we jumped into Discord and even talked, and yeah, and I think it's just one of those things again where I had been rugged so many times because it was like I think mid to late 2021. I'd been rugged so many times. I was like, what's another rug, right? I'm gonna take the risk. So that's how it went down, but it worked.
Yeah, we were actually, before we started Agent Hustle, we were exploring doing Twitter handle trading with emblem vaults in a non-custodial way. I think we still have like a path to do that, but there's always still the rug potential where X can just rug the handle from you out from the bottom, which is unfortunate. But here, I'll pass it off to you. I know you said you had some things to say. Also, pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, no, thanks. I couldn't talk earlier. I don't know what was going on. But I joined because I saw Bongo Cat and Bonk, and I had to join. So I think a lot of what you said makes sense. So as you see a lot of CTO groups that don't really have access to funds, it really makes sense for Bongo Cat to use migrate.fund so that they can continue building it and receive some of those funds to continue building it out. Obviously, having Bonk Guy as the #1 holder, and he's heavily posting specifically about bonk tokens is pretty bullish. So that's awesome for it. I own about 2% Bongo Cat, so I'm pretty invested. I think I've said Longo Bongo at least once a week for the past 5 or 6 months now. So, but anyway, yeah, I'd love to have you on Spaces. So I do the Bonk Fund Spaces a few days a week where we just interview different PVE communities on Bonk, and that's one of the cool things I think about Bonk is it's more of a PVE focus. It's communities working together and helping each other. So I really love that Migrate is opening up this tool for people to come over to Bonk and experience that. That's all I really had to say.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, so we're going to be going live we're doing a great migration wave. So we have about 15 teams who are migrating to Bonk Fund, and there's a few who are going to Radium pools. And yeah, so it'll be Thursday. So maybe we'll come on Thursday or the Monday kind of after, but maybe Thursday would be good. But I'll DM you kind of after this, and we'll go from there. And then from then, once the platform's live, there's about 15 teams. Interested to see, where the interest is. Does it spark more interest in people wanting to migrate to Bonk, right? More attention. There's so few things that kind of have to be worked out and such. But one interesting aspect of the migration to Bonk actually is that there's more quote unquote ICM market migrations than there are actual memes themselves. Lots of AI companies wanting to move over to Bonk. So I think that could actually be a new market for the Bonk Fund community. It's interesting now, right? Because Pump Fund's leaning into creator coins. And so a lot of the streamers and stuff like that. And so they've kind of pushed some of the traders out because of the increase in the fee. And so I've seen like the Bonk Fund community now offering trading incentives in some capacity. I haven't looked through it, but I saw a post about it. So you're kind of starting to see some bifurcation or some split between the two different largest launch pads and their communities. And so, right, you'll see more memes move over, more ICM, and Pump will maybe just focus more on the creators and streaming and such. But it's a pretty good opportunity to give second life and also to kind of have a home for these places, because the conversations we have with a lot of these teams is actually people are feeling somewhat lost, whether it's kind of like an AI company who needs the fees to survive and runway, right? Because our situation was we launched this hustle project at the end of last year. We didn't think about the long-term ramifications, but after about 3 months in, we're like, oh man, no fees to fund runway, no token supply because we didn't buy anything, right? All the charts are being pushed down. But then for the meme communities themselves, they are also feeling kind of left out from Pump Fund, right? Because the shift is now changing because Pump has different types of obligations that they have to follow. And now also there's just like a massive increase in launch pads that are being created, which I think is good long term. I kind of see launch pads as either somewhat starting wheels or training wheels for new teams, or for different types of projects or communities who don't want to handle kind of end to end on everything, or they don't need to, or they do it for kind of the community aspect themselves. And I think it'll continue to evolve over time. And I have no doubt in my mind once we start these migrations that people are going to reach out to us with all kinds of different types of requests. So unlocking capital, it's pretty cool. There's, I think, like, what was it? It was like 3 million SOL or something like that stuck in pump fund pools, something like that when we did the math. So lots of opportunity. We will wrap it up here pretty soon. But Rage, I do appreciate you for coming on, also for following up. It's been great getting to know you. I know we have our call in a few days to onboard you to the platform, and then the migration will begin on Thursday. No real final questions for me. I just pass it off to you if there's anything final notes you'd like to say about Bongo migrations or even yourself.
No, man, it's super exciting to be able to go through this process, and I think it's going to bring a lot of life back to Bongo, and to be able to do this, and just super excited for what's to come. It's super exciting to see that, we've had a bunch of people who have been in the community since at least last year. Here it's just still hardcore, man, just all the time. And it's just super exciting to see them pumped up for this. So I think a lot of good things for ahead, man. And so I just appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you. We appreciate Bongo. We appreciate Bonk and all of our hustlers in the community. If you see, there's a lot of us who have the similar PFP that's using our Hustle PFP generator that's been getting a lot of attention. So everyone who's on stage, please make sure that you do follow Rager so you can stay up to date with everything about Bongo. Follow Haro if you want to listen to the Bong Fun show that they do multiple times per week, learn more about the ecosystem, as well as follow the Migrate Fun account. As you see, there's more content ramping up about migrations as the teams are confirming and being onboarded. Until then, big day next Thursday. We'll have more shows next week, more calls. Until then, everyone have a fun and safe Thursday and your weekend. We will see you back here on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Until then, everyone have a good Thursday.
Later, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good weekend.